Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are putting on our examiner lenses and stepping directly into the marking room. We're going to completely deconstruct four core accounting concepts: business entity, historic cost, money measurement, and going concern. Now, if you're thinking, oh, I already know the definitions, stop right there. Our goal today isn't just to recite definitions. Our objective is to figure out exactly how these concepts dictate the hidden logic of Cambridge AS and A-Level Accounting Paper 2, and more importantly, what precisely separates a painfully average, middle-of-the-pack answer from an elite top-tier response that commands full marks. Let's dive right in.
I want to hook your attention immediately with this number right here, 15. I want you to burn this number into your mind. Based on the syllabus weighting and a rigorous analysis of past examination trends, these foundational concepts account for approximately 15% of your total available marks in Paper 2. Listen to me carefully. We are not just talking about a stray multiple-choice question or a tiny one-mark fill-in-the-blank. We are talking about those high-tariff, high-stakes, 9 to 15-mark essay and evaluation questions. These are the absolute deal-breakers that can and will make or break your final Cambridge grade. It's literally the difference between a B and an A star. Raising the academic stakes right from the start completely changes how we need to approach this material.
Here is our strategic roadmap for this masterclass. First, we'll unpack that 15% stake. Second, mastering the core principles. Third, deploying the procedural framework. Fourth, the top 3 examiner warnings. And finally, evaluative thinking strategies.
Let's move into Section 1, the 15% stake. Why do these concepts matter so much? Simply put, treating these principles as an afterthought is a guaranteed way to bleed marks.
Business entity, historic cost, money measurement, and going concern are not just vocabulary words for your flashcards. They are the actual theoretical architecture of your entire exam. Think about it like a giant conceptual puzzle. The business entity concept acts as an invisible, impenetrable firewall. It dictates that a business and its owner are entirely separate legal and financial entities. Without this firewall, our entire balance sheet completely falls apart because personal expenses would mix with business assets. Then you have historic cost. This forces us to record assets at their original purchase price. It prioritizes cold, hard, objective reliability over the subjective, constantly shifting market value. It's your anchor to reality. Next up is money measurement. Think of this as the ultimate bouncer to VIP club. It strictly reminds us that if a transaction cannot be reliably expressed in monetary terms, like how brilliant your new CEO's sense of humor is or the morale of your workforce, it absolutely does not get past the velvet rope. It does not go in the accounts. And finally, going concern. This is the fundamental assumption that the business will continue operating indefinitely into the foreseeable future. This is the horizon line. It is the exact justification for why we don't just value everything in our warehouse at its quick, desperate liquidation price. These aren't just ideas. They are the fundamental pillars that require logical, structured reasoning in every single calculation and evaluation you perform on exam day.
Moving on to Section 2, Mastering Core Principles. Let's shift our focus to what the academic benchmarks specifically demand from top-performing candidates.
When an examiner sits down with a red pen and looks at your paper, what are they actually hunting for? It turns out they are looking for something incredibly specific: connected conceptual understanding. This is the crucial ability to transfer theoretical principles into entirely unfamiliar contexts and demonstrate cross-topic relationships. You have to understand the anatomy of the command words. If a question says explain, that's entirely different from analyze, which is worlds apart from evaluate or to what extent. Cambridge absolutely does not want you to just regurgitate a memorized textbook definition of going concern. That proves nothing. They want you to evaluate how the going concern assumption directly impacts the valuation of inventory in a manufacturing account during a severe economic downturn. Do you see the jump in complexity? High marks come from evidence-based reasoning, precise definitions, and showing the examiner that you understand how a change in one single accounting principle sends a massive ripple effect across the entire set of financial statements. It's about seeing the whole board, not just one piece.
Now, let's look at the difference between an average answer and a genuinely stellar one. Let's use 2 archetypal students I see all the time. We'll call them Alex and Sam. Alex is highly technical, a total human calculator who excels at formulas but struggles with open-ended evaluation. When faced with an essay, Alex relies on superficial breadth. Alex lists basic facts, writing something like, historic cost means recording the original price. Now, that gets a base mark, sure, but it doesn't unlock the higher assessment objectives. Then we have Sam. Sam is a creative thinker, strong at arguments, but often lacks structural precision. Sam tries to go deeper, but gets lost. What the examiner actually wants is conceptual depth, showing causal relationships and integrating Alex's facts with Sam's big-picture thinking.
A conceptual depth answer sounds like this. By applying the historic cost concept, the asset is recorded at its original price, which ensures objectivity and neutrality in the financial statements, actively preventing management from artificially inflating asset values to make the company look more profitable to potential investors. Boom. Do you see the difference? You aren't just stating the rule. You are definitively proving why the rule exists and how it affects the stakeholders.
Let's jump into Section 3, the procedural framework. This is where we talk about the method mark strategy.
The absolute most crucial point you need to understand right now is that marks are heavily awarded for your analytical process and your strict adherence to accounting conventions. In Cambridge Accounting, the final numerical answer at the bottom of the page is only a tiny fraction of the total score. Examiners are actively looking to award marks for proper methodology. Have you heard of the own figure rule? If you mess up a calculation on line 2 because you punched the wrong button on your calculator under pressure, but you carry that wrong number through the rest of the problem using the completely correct conceptual accounting principles, you can still earn the vast majority of the method marks. But, and this is a massive but, you only get those marks if your process is visible, highly logical, and structurally sound on the page.
To ensure you aggressively capture every single method mark available, you need a tactical, 6-step execution sequence. But actually, before we deconstruct the single hardest part of this procedural framework, I need to pause our session for a quick second. If you are serious about securing top grades and want to completely master these exact examiner strategies, you need to subscribe to our channel right now. Ace the Exams IGCSE O and A levels at AceTheExam_IGCSE. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you never miss our weekly Cambridge breakthrough strategies. Okay, let's get back to the roadmap and get unstuck. Here is your cognitive strategy when facing a brutal 15-mark question. Step 1, deconstruct the question. Isolate the command word. Are you explaining, analyzing, or evaluating? Step 2, extract the relevant data from the stimulus materials. Step 3, select your analytical framework. Which of our 4 core concepts is the hidden constraint here? Step 4, execute with clear notation. Write down your formulas before you plug in numbers. Step 5, verify your results with a quick sanity check. Does this number even make logical sense in the real world? And Step 6, present clearly. Using this systematic step-by-step scan ensures you never lose your way, avoid panic, and perfectly balance your paragraphs, even when the clock is ticking down.
And speaking of presenting clearly, we literally cannot emphasize this enough. The Cambridge syllabus specifically explicitly states that the practical application of these concepts requires developing professional skills. What does that actually mean? It means proper headings. It means correct terminology. It means appropriate formats and crystal clear annotation. If you spend 20 minutes submitting a beautifully, perfectly calculated income statement but you completely forget the heading at the top, or if you use casual slang instead of the proper mandated term, revenue, you are going to bleed marks. It is agonizing to watch as an examiner. Hammer home these repetitive but incredibly vital rules of formatting. They are the easiest marks to get and absolutely the most tragic marks to lose.
This brings us perfectly to Section 4, the top 3 examiner warnings. Let's look directly at where candidates consistently lose marks.
Think of this as a highly interactive workshop segment. This is an urgent, flashing red light straight from the official marking rooms. Examiner alert. Candidates consistently confuse key terminology. The principal examiners explicitly state year after year that students mix up concepts like business entity and going concern when they are writing extended evaluations. So what is their direct advice to you? Always define your terms before you use them in your extended responses. Before you launch into a massive, complex paragraph analyzing the historic cost of a fleet of delivery vehicles, write one crisp, highly accurate sentence defining what historic cost actually is. Secure your foundation, secure your definition marks, and then, and only then, build your complex analytical argument on top of it. Let's do a quick mental exercise to spot the flaws. The principal examiner reports outline the top 3 fatal mistakes candidates make under pressure. Mistake number 1, using the wrong approach for the context given. Do not apply the money measurement concept when the prompt's hidden constraint is clearly testing your knowledge of business entity. Mistake number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation. We literally just talked about this. Missing your headings and having sloppy, illegible annotations will instantly cost you your method marks. And mistake number 3, which is perhaps the deadliest trap of them all, providing generic, memorized answers instead of context-specific ones. If the exam stimulus is about a local, family-owned bakery struggling with cash flow, your evaluation absolutely must mention ovens, flour, daily bread sales, and their specific liquidity issues. Do not give a generic textbook answer about a massive hypothetical corporate entity. The examiners hate that. You need to actively build a mental checklist of these 3 exact traps and verify you haven't fallen into them during that critical last 5 minutes of your exam review.
Let's bring it all home with Section 5, Evaluative Thinking Strategies. This is exclusively about how you reach that elusive top band of marks.
What's really fascinating here is the evaluative matrix. This is the holy grail that separates the average students from the elite, top-scoring candidates. There are 4 main requirements for critical analysis you must master. Row 1, identifying limitations. If you are deploying the historic cost concept in an argument, you must simultaneously point out its limitation, namely that in times of rampant high inflation, the balance sheet value of an asset becomes completely unrealistic and arguably useless to an investor. Row 2, questioning assumptions. Are we absolutely 100% certain the going concern assumption is valid if the stimulus material mentions the company just lost its single biggest client? You have to play devil's advocate. Row 3, alternative interpretations. Could a completely different accounting policy or valuation method provide a fairer, more transparent presentation of the facts? And row 4, effect on conclusions. How does choosing one conceptual framework over another fundamentally alter the final profit figure that is presented to the shareholders? To get top marks, you must justify every single decision you make with hard evidence from the text.
And look, if you don't believe me, let me read you this incredibly powerful quote definitively proving exactly what the graders are looking for when they evaluate the end of your exam paper. This is straight from the Principal Examiner Report. Quote, top-scoring candidates demonstrate evaluative thinking by questioning assumptions, considering different perspectives, and justifying decisions with evidence. End quote. Look at those verbs. Questioning, considering, justifying. That is your absolute mandate. That is the exact proven blueprint for a flawless, full-mark response when you hit those terrifying, high-tariff evaluate or to what extent command words.
Let's synthesize this entire masterclass into a final, actionable checklist. I want you to leave this explainer with 3 core, memorable pillars mapped to concrete actions. Number 1, the 3-step question stand. Always deconstruct the prompt, extract data, and apply the 6-step framework to every complex problem. Number 2, the paragraph balance formula. Always secure your foundation by defining your terminology before you analyze and adhere to strict professional formatting conventions to lock in your method marks. And number 3, the last 5 minutes review checklist. Constantly evaluate your assumptions using our critical analysis matrix. Check for context, check for formatting, check for limitations. Write these down, memorize them, and make them your absolute default reflex under exam conditions.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to really ponder as you prepare for your next mock exam. Are you just blindly calculating the numbers on the page, or are you critically analyzing the deep, conceptual assumptions hidden behind them? Remember, accounting is not just math, it is the fundamental language of business logic. Master the concepts of business entity, historic cost, money measurement, and going concern, and I promise you, you will master the exam. To make sure you keep crushing your Cambridge exams, you need consistent elite strategy. So hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exams, IGCSE O and A levels at acetheexam_IGCSE. Turn on the notification bell right now for all our future exam hacks and drop a comment below with your target grade. Keep studying strategically, keep questioning your assumptions, and we will see you in the next explainer.